Have you ever felt stuck in your life? Me too. That's really how I was feeling for the last little while. And I don't know, maybe it was winter blahs, and maybe it was that now spring was coming, but I was really looking for change in my life. In fact, in 2025, the beginning of 2025, I decided to make adventure. Adventure was going to be my word for the year. And that meant doing things, doing new things, embarking on new experiences. And in order to do that, I know that I had to shake things up. And the timing couldn't have been better. I found myself in the library. I found Marie Kondo's books. She wrote The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and she also wrote Spark Joy. So I brought those home. I quickly devoured them and got to work. I even signed up for the KonMari Consultant and Training course, so I took that course because it really helped to shift things for me. It really did. And so I wanted to make this video to share with you the 8 things that I learned. It might be something that you can apply to your life too if you're feeling like you need to change things up, and your home is the place to start. And I'm also going to share with you Marie Kondo's folding techniques. It's actually easier than you think. I'm going to share with you 4 really, I don't know, quirky things in my home that spark joy. And the last thing I'm going to share are my actual honest opinions and honest feedback about the KonMari method. And it might actually surprise you, so stick to the end. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Wait. I can't believe I forgot to tell you this. I got to meet Marie Kondo. Yes, it was virtually, but still, that's us. Look at us right next to each other. And she was just so graceful, so peaceful. She was so incredibly sweet and gracious. I don't even have words. She was just so adorable. So adorable. So the first important lesson that I learned was that when you start this process, the first thing that you want to do is really focus on the life that you want to create. What does your ideal life look like? Really spend some time asking yourselves questions about that. So for me, I took the time to journal. If you're looking for some ideas on the journal prompts that I use to kind of help me get thinking about my ideal life, I'll put them in the description for you. The other thing that I did was create a mood board on Canva. So that helped me visually, I'm a really visual person, so that helped me to visualize the kind of life that I wanted to lead moving forward. And so why does the KonMari method start with that? It's because how do you know where you want to go if you haven't even thought about where you want to go? And the second question to that is, does the life that I'm living now, does the home that I'm living in now actually support the life that I want to live? Now for me, I can answer that question pretty easily and say no. When I looked around, even just at the clothes in my closet, I had come from 20-something years in finance, and now I was doing this kind of creative work. I was doing marketing and social media, YouTube. So I'm looking in my closet and I still had these suits and things that I wore in my old life. So that wasn't really resonating. I saw very clearly the disconnect there. So there's probably things in your home too that you're thinking, this stuff that I'm holding on to doesn't really jive with the life that, it's not the right vibe for the new life that I want to lead. So taking some time to think about that, I thought was really a great way to approach this decluttering and organizing, because you want your home and the things that you surround yourself with to really support you in that. The second tip, or the second idea that I really took away from the KonMari method, is that the energy of things, the things in our home actually do have energy. Now, so I'm not trying to be like all woo-woo here. You don't have to be woo-woo to even know. I mean, all of us have felt it, right? We've got something in our home that maybe it never works right. It was never the right color, or the person who gave it to us really annoys us. So why am I holding on to this? Or maybe it was something that you spent a lot of money on and you're only keeping it out of guilt. So you can see how things kind of get imbued with that sort of energy. And so Marie Kondo's method is all about surrounding yourself, instead of those things that drag you down or make you feel bad, that you surround yourself with things that spark joy. Sparking joy is about the feeling that you get when you hold that thing, when you use that thing, when you wear that thing. And for me, there was 4 specific things. Like when I think about it right away, I knew for sure those things were staying, because as silly as they were, they spark joy. So I'm going to show you what those are.
This mug is my absolute favorite. It's the right size, it's got the right handle, it's got the right colors. Totally sparks joy. Why are we in the bathroom for this next thing that sparks joy? I have to show you. It's one of the most hilarious things I have. It is one of those room sprays, and it's called Total Eclipse of the Fart. Like, what else can I say? Hilarious. And when people come over, I think it's hilarious too. So, okay, this is another one of my favorite things. This sparks so much joy for me, and I know it's silly and it's small. This little black sheep with the cutest little feet, my daughter got it for me for Christmas. We saw it in a shop and it made me laugh out loud, and for Christmas it ended up in my stocking. So I love my little black sheep. One of the items that sparks joy in my closet is this hot pink suit. When I bought it, I wasn't sure where I was going to wear it, but I was determined to find a place. And every time I have worn it since, it brings me so much joy. I feel really good in it. It was a really easy decision, so this was definitely staying. It sparks joy.
You've now seen a couple of things that spark joy in my home. I'd love to know in the comments below, what sparks joy for you? Let me know in the comments. So we're on to number 3. The KonMari method, like so many other organizers out there, focuses on discarding first or decluttering first. I mean, we've heard that from many organizing experts. Marie Kondo is no different in that respect. It totally makes sense that before you start organizing and finding space for things, you need to go through it and get rid of those things that are not supporting you in the ideal lifestyle, are not useful, and don't spark joy. KonMari method has a very specific way of going through those things and decluttering and discarding. And the 5 categories that she focuses on are, you start first with clothing, and these will have to be done in order. So starts with clothing, then we move to books, then on to paper, then kimono, which is miscellaneous items, and last but not least is sentimental items. So KonMari teaches that you have to go through them specifically in that order because they're sort of arranged from the easiest category down to the hardest. You can appreciate, right? Sentimental items are a little bit tougher to get rid of than maybe that old pair of tennis shoes that you've been meaning to throw out for a while and just need an excuse to do that. Now, the difference between the KonMari method and other organizing methods is that instead of going room by room or area by area, the KonMari method focuses on a category. So like I said, when we're talking about books, you're not just going into your office. You're taking books from the office, the side of your bed. Maybe you've got like a den. Maybe you've got, reading material in your living room. So you're just looking at all the books everywhere and gathering in one spot and taking care of that one category as a whole instead of going room by room. Now that brings me to the next point. And the next point is you want to start out with what's easy, which is why the KonMari method starts with clothing and then works its way through. So within each category, so think about it, in clothing, like for me, I didn't have a hard time getting rid of clothes, but what I did have a hard time with was purses. I had a hard time with purses. And when I looked through kimono, which was like miscellaneous items, so that's things like, your bathroom items, your linen items, your kitchen items, I really didn't have a huge problem with that until it came to kitchen. I am a fan of my kitchen gadgets and having a few extras, like a few extra peelers, because my thinking is then people can help me peel the apples before we make applesauce. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you guys here. I had a really tough time with paper. I think that was my 20-something years in finance that I was keeping papers just in case I needed them, then I had reference papers. And the thing with paper is it's really sneaky because a piece of paper doesn't take up a lot of space and it's easy to kind of store and keep it, but then it just starts to multiply. And that became a really tough thing for me to go through was paper. I'll be honest, that was really tough. When you're looking and you're facing a tough category, the tip is to focus on easy things within that category. So with papers, what I started with was like, I don't know why, I was keeping all the appliance manuals. Like, do we need appliance manuals? I don't think so. I can go online and find them if I need them. So those were easy to pitch. And then I worked my way up to like old receipts, and then tax papers, like those kinds of things. So I worked my way through the categories, basically what I'm saying. So if you find yourself organizing, start with what's easy and start building up that discarding or decluttering muscle so that you have the confidence to continue to move forward as it gets progressively tougher. Marie also says that the two primary reasons why people can't discard items is either they're holding on to the past or there is a fear of the future. I thought that was really good. So what are you holding on to that's maybe some relic of the past? Or maybe you're holding on to it because you're afraid of the future. It's a really good question, right? Tip number 6 is to discard with gratitude and to store your belongings with respect. So discarding with gratitude, if any of you have watched the Netflix series, Marie takes a second to thank the item before she lets it go. And I think that's a really beautiful practice because, those things that we're discarding at one time were either useful or beautiful to us. And I just feel like it's a nice way and it makes it a little bit easier to let things go. Maybe it's going to a new home where somebody else can appreciate those things. And when it comes to storing items with respect, it was really interesting to me as I went through this process that when I set really pretty bins and baskets and storage items for me to put my things in, I really did have more respect for those things. I had more respect for my makeup brushes because they were sitting like in a pretty vase. I had more respect for the hats and mitts that were like in the cupboard because I gave them really pretty storage bins and made nice labels for them. So not only did it look pretty, but also it was practical and made it easy for me to find them. So I thought that was just a really beautiful practice to discard with gratitude and then also to store your things with respect. So tip number 7 is all about storage. So you've taken the time to go through the different categories. You have decluttered, you've discarded items, and now you're looking for how can you best store them. The KonMari method is all about visibility and accessibility, and of course, honoring your things in the way that you store them. So for me, I'll give you an example. For me, when I went through the kitchen items and I went through, like, we really love coffee around here. We really, really love coffee around here. We had a number of different coffee makers. And when I spent the time to actually set up our coffee section, I got rid of mugs that I hated. You know, you have mugs that you hate. I got rid of mugs that I hated. And now I can use only mugs that bring me joy every time that I'm having coffee. It makes me really happy. The other tip about storage is you want to store like with like. So going back to that coffee area, our mugs are not scattered throughout because at one time we had them kind of like hanging on pegs, like where the coffee station was, and then we had extras in a cupboard. Well, because I decluttered and discarded like the old mugs that I hated, now I had room to just put all the mugs in one spot, which is really great. It's really handy, not only for when we're making coffee, but also when I'm putting them away and when I'm looking for them. I know exactly where to go. So there's probably things that you've kind of got kept here and there. So store like with like, make sure it's visible and accessible. Tip number 8 is Marie Kondo's folding technique. Game changer for the drawer space. I'm telling you, once I learned to fold like this, it really made a difference. So I'm going to show you how to fold 2 things. You're going to learn how to fold a t-shirt. I'm going to show you how to do that. And also a hoodie because, we're in Canada, so what about warm sweaters? How are we going to store those hoodies? So let me show you.
So the first thing I've done is laid this flat on my surface. In this case, I'm using the bed. I'm just going to use my hands to smooth it out. And then we're going to take the left side and fold it in towards the middle. We're going to smooth it. We're going to take the right side. We're going to fold that in. That's straight. And we're going to smooth. So what we're trying to do is create a rectangle, because anybody can fold a rectangle. As long as we get our garments into this rectangle shape, we can then do this next fold, which is you're going to fold it up almost halfway. And again, using our palms to smooth it. And then we're going to fold the shirt in thirds. And the idea is by folding this way, your shirts will be able to stand up in the drawer.
Okay, next up we have ourselves a hoodie. So hoodies sometimes can be tricky.
Because we have obviously the hood to account for and the sleeves are a little bit longer. So I'm going to show you how to fold this. So once again on our surface, I'm going to put it face down. We're going to smooth it out. And then all I'm going to do is take this left side once again, fold it in at the shoulder. And we're going to fold this down. And we're going to smooth it. Next, we're going to take this side and fold it in. And again, taking the arms and folding them down. Then we're going to take the hood. I'm going to put this down and smooth it the best you can. So all I'm trying to do here is, once again, we want to create that rectangle because the rectangle is really easy to fold. Okay, we've got our rectangle. And this one I'm going to probably fold in thirds just because it's thicker material. Our t-shirt we could fold more, but this needs less folds because it's a little bulkier. And in thirds. And there we have our sweatshirt folded.
So here's my honest to goodness review of the KonMari method. There are definitely things that I loved, and there were also things that I think are challenges with her method. The things that I loved, let's start with that first. First of all, I just love the idea to think about your ideal life and how your home and your things support you in that. I really love that. I love that she also gives you the idea of starting with things that are easy and then working your way up to things that are a little bit more challenging. I think that makes complete sense. I love the idea that the things that we surround ourselves with have energy and that we should really focus on sparking joy. But there are some challenges. And one of the biggest challenges, I think, is that when you're tackling a category, Marie's method is probably the only one that I've seen that instead of going room by room or area by area, she wants you to tackle it all at once. And that can be a little bit overwhelming and a little bit intimidating because sometimes, there were times when I was looking at that paper clutter and I was going through paper and I was thinking like, I'm never going to get through this. It was really a little bit disheartening and it felt really overwhelming in that moment. And I could see how this method may not work for everyone just because of the time commitment that it takes. Yes, I was committed to tidying up, but also there were times where, there was clutter on the table and in my office until I could get around to getting back into it and sort through that paper. So sometimes I feel like it can be daunting tackling it all at once. You know what I'm saying? And one of the other challenges is that Marie says in her book, she says, tidying a little a day and you'll be tidying forever. So she doesn't believe in tidying in little bits at a time. That's why she believes in tidying in one fell swoop, because the idea is that you make this huge transformation and you'll be more than likely to keep it that way if you make this huge transformation. If you eliminate clutter thoroughly and completely within a short span of time, you'll see instant results that will empower you to keep the space in order ever after. I'm not sure about that. I'm just gonna honestly say I'm not sure about that because not everybody can commit to doing everything all in one fell swoop. Now, is that wrong? I don't know. I don't know. There's other organizers and other methods that work just as well. Clutterbug, I follow Cass from Clutterbug. Love her, and her methods, and it's really approachable and it's in smaller increments and it's doable. So, she talks a lot about how 5 minutes matters and every little thing that you do adds up to big change. So I can see how that's also transformative. There's not just one way of doing it. That's my thought there. The other thing is when it comes to clothing. Now I showed you how to fold. And there are a couple of drawers that I do fold using the KonMari method now that I've been taught that way. And those would be my t-shirts and my sweaters and my pants. But am I going to take the time to fold all my underwears and my socks and my stockings and all those things in the KonMari method? No, I'm not. If you go into the drawer with my underwear and socks, they're just going to be like all tossed in there. So I respect you underwear, but also I'm not going to spend hours folding you. When we were doing the consultant course too, they were talking about the kitchen and they were talking about keeping counters clear. That's also part of the KonMari method, is keeping things out of sight but still visibly accessible. And that may work for some people, but I know that there are other people that are very visual and need to see their things, because if they don't see them, they're going to forget about them. So now going back to Cass from Clutterbug, she talks about 4 different styles, and depending on your natural organizing styles, that will dictate how best to arrange and sort your items. So for instance, there are people that are really visual and they need to see their things in order to remember that those things exist. Or there's people who like things hidden, which I do. So, I mean, that doesn't bother me if it's in a drawer or behind the counter. The other thing that she talks about is, are you a macro or micro organizer? I'm not a micro organizer. Just give me a big bin and I'll just chuck it in the bin, which is why like my underwear and my bras and my socks, like that's not all like micro organized. It's just in the one drawer. That's all like my understuff. So that's the one thing also with the KonMari method that I'm not sure I would be able to keep up that amount of micro organization, nor personally for me would I want to. Now, would there be clients, would there be like other people that want to do that? For sure. But for me, I'm not sure I want to go to that extreme, take the time to go to that extreme. So if you've watched Marie Kondo's Netflix series, if you read the books, and maybe you're a KonMari consultant as well. So maybe, I mean, I'd be curious to hear from you. What do you really love about that method? And what do you find challenging? So all opinions are valid, guys. We all are in this together. We're all just trying to do the best that we can do with where we're at. So I want to thank you for being here. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit subscribe, be sure to hit like, because that helps me creating content that hopefully you find helpful too. Until next time, happy hosting. Mm-hmm.
It's stuck. This is why sequins shouldn't touch sequins.
Well, the KonMari method, the other tip that another super, and what's the other question?